So I made this video to explain how to use the columns map on these systems. One is the Amazon Auto Sourcer system, which sources products from Amazon. The other is the supplier to Amazon system, which starts with the supplier and then finds products on Amazon. But either way, you have to use the columns map to tell the program how to get data from a CSV and to bring that data into the sourcing sheet. So I'm making this video to explain that a bit more because I see that some people are getting the system, they're starting to use these systems, but they don't, some of you don't realize that you actually have to update this columns map sometimes, or make sure that it still matches the CSV that you download. So I'm going to demonstrate how that works, okay? I'm going to start with the Amazon Auto Sourcer. When you go on Amazon, okay, and you search for something, whatever it is, I'll do a search for chairs. Okay, let's just say, all right, it really doesn't matter what we search for. You get product results clearly, right? You scrape them with a Chrome extension, and now you have a CSV. When you click the CSV button, in fact, before I even download the CSV, I want you to pay attention ahead of time to this, okay? In every data file, in every CSV, you have column headings. In every Excel table, you have column headings. These are the titles at the top of each column in the file. And of course, under that, you have data. So these are the URLs, for instance. These are product URLs under a link normal href. Okay, I believe you also have product URLs under a link normal href too. The format is just a little different. You have titles under this column, a size base. These are the product titles. If you read these, you can see that these are titles. And if you scroll over more, I'm going to skip some of this other stuff, you will find you should find a price column as well. Oh, here it is. And if I open this column up a little, you see that this is a off screen. These are the prices. So the important thing to understand why we have to map this data is that the system doesn't know what these are. When I say the system, I'm referring to the Amazon Auto Sourcer. The Google Sheet, it has no idea what those things mean. All right, I'm going to open these back up. So first of all, let me download the CSV so we can continue this process. I'm not trying to get a lot of products, so I just download the CSV immediately. And when I go back to the Amazon Auto Sourcer, I will then import the data. So go to the IDS CSV sheet, which stands for Instant Data Scraper CSV. File, import, upload, select a file from your device. If it's on downloads and we're looking at today's download, this is the download, Amazon 70. I'll go ahead and upload that file, replace the current sheet, and then import data. So this is the actual CSV data. Now it's important to understand that once you have the data, which was already downloaded to the computer in the first place, but when bringing the data in here with file import is really just for convenience, right? Really, you could open the CSV on your computer and you could copy the data directly to the sourcing sheet. That's a possibility as well, right? But we import the data into the IDS CSV to make it more convenient to have the data here. So now that we have the data here, we can look, okay, we need a columns map because, as I was saying, these columns headings, a link normal href for the URLs, for the title, this column heading, a size base, or for the prices, this column's heading, a off screen, these are meaningless, right? these don't mean anything to anyone. They come from the web page HTML, from the code of the actual web page, but they're meaningless to this system, the sourcing sheet. Okay, therefore, we have what is called a columns map. And what the columns map does is the columns map, and this is not just for the system. There are many systems in the world that use a columns map. Okay, and a columns map tells a system what each of these columns up here actually are. Right? So this column, a link normal href, these are URLs. This column, a size base, these are titles. Let's see. In this column, a off screen, these are prices. And that's what the columns map does. So when I go to the columns map, you will see I've created a map here. Now, it might say supplier on your copy that you're using. It might say supplier website here. And really that is because originally that's what these were when I first made this system, supplier Amazon matcher. Okay, but really it's not a supplier website. It's really a column. And I'll just, for the sake of this video, if you're using a more updated version, this might already be changed. But this is really a map name or ID. Okay, so Amazon search map is a map that is letting us know that a link normal href2 is a URL. Okay, those represent URLs. It's also letting me know that a size base plus represents titles and that a off screen represents prices. One problem is that when I look at this, a size base plus represents titles, and then I look at the actual CSV in front of me, I see that the titles column actually contains a size base, not base plus. Not base plus. So if I try to import this this data with this map that I have now, it's not going to know where to get the titles from because it's going to have the wrong column heading. So I'll actually try to copy this IDS data with this Amazon search map. And for one, this might be the first time I'm actually running a script on this particular file, so I may actually have to authorize it to run. Okay, so I do have to authorize this to run. If I can just get through this process quickly. Select the account. Allow. Okay, so let me do that again. So when I click copy IDS data, I am sure that the titles will not come out. If you notice, the URLs will come out and the prices will come out, but the title does not come out, and that's simply because my title column match is incorrect. So to fix this, I would simply go back to the IDS CSV, take this column header in a size base and copy it, and go to the map and replace a size base plus with a size base. Okay. Now, when I go back to the sourcing sheet and I click copy IDS data again, now the URLs and prices are already here, so they'll just get replaced. So you won't really notice anything, but you will notice that the titles, this time the titles popped in because now it knows where to get the titles. So if you've been using the system and you're not getting your if you're not getting your titles, this might be why. It's because your columns map needs to be updated. If you're not getting prices or URLs or anything, all right, you need to look at the CSV. Now, yes, I did provide a columns map in these systems based on the CSV situation at that moment that I distributed the system, but it's subject to change, and I cannot control that because that's Amazon's website. They have their HTML however they have it, right? Or I'm not sure. I don't know anything about how the site is built. All I know is that when I scrape the data that I get a CSV, and sometimes the CSV has different column headings, and that means that you have to change the map. But think about it. If I were to keep constantly changing the map, I'd have to be, well, for one, I'd have to be at the computer all the time. And then I'd have to be constantly sending you new files, so that wouldn't make sense. So it is up to you, the user, to get on this CSV. Okay, watch this video, understand how the system works, understand the process of a columns map. And then it is up to you to then update the columns map so that you can get the data in there. All right, so don't think there's something wrong with the script. No, there's nothing wrong with the script. The script is very literal. We have to understand computers are literal, right? So it's literally, the script is saying you have to give me a map name, and you have to give me the URL column, the title column, and the price column. And then I'm going to copy the data right here with copy IDS data based on what you give me. If you give me nothing, you get nothing, right? So understand the process, okay, of the columns map, because it's really important. So that is really all that there is behind a columns map. Now, if you're using this system, the supplier to Amazon matcher, it's the same thing. The only difference is that you're getting the data from a supplier like Walmart. And recently, from what I've seen with Walmart, they're like notorious for changing that. The way that data is being stored is just really, changing often. So like the map that I originally created for Walmart, right? And these are actually supplier maps, because in this system we're starting with the supplier. You can see that I have had to create a number. I'm up to like 3 Walmart maps because they change so much. Okay, and their changes are more drastic because we see the titles CSV changes quite a bit, and the prices keep changing. The only thing that has stayed consistent are the URLs for Walmart specifically. Okay, Walmart. So that is, one issue with this. So the same thing I just did demonstrate with the system. Well, I suppose I could go to some products. So if you're using one of these systems but you're not using the other, it really depends on how you do product research, but keep in mind that both approaches are good to start on Amazon with this system, or to start at the supplier with this system. So you might want to consider getting the one that you're not using as well. But here I'm going to go to get a CSV from this category. And it's the same idea, right? But look at the column heading of these titles. It's now WBC. Okay. That's not what I have for my titles for the Walmart map. Okay, I have WA5 for the original map. For Walmart 2, I have WBE for 2 and 3. Now it's telling me, let's go back to this Walmart. It's telling me WBC is now the column setting. So you see how it keeps changing. Okay, I'm going to download the CSV. Let's bring it in here so we can really see it. Okay. Walmart 31, and then open that up. Replace current sheet, import data. So yeah, you can see clearly that the titles are stored under something different. So what I will do in this case is actually build a whole columns map from scratch. So I will call this one Walmart 4, and I don't know if I should even keep adding so many of them, or if I should just keep replacing the old ones and keep updating it each time. But for now, I'm going to create a new map. So what I'll do is kind of zoom up. So Walmart 4 will be the name of the map. I just typed that in. And now the titles for Walmart 4. And I have to zoom out a bit because I need to get to the CSV. All right, titles are under WBC, so I'm going to copy that, go back to IDS columns map, paste that in here. Okay, that's WBC for the titles. URLs are still absolute href, they don't tend to change, so I'll just take this one and copy it down. And then prices, if I scroll over the CSV, I can find current price is under WBC underscore BC space 2. I'll just copy and paste that. I don't want to have to retype that. And paste. Okay. And this is the only way that I'll get the Walmart data into the sheet. So now, going back to the supplier Amazon data, I'm going to zoom out a bit. And okay, I believe I'm going to have to, so I'll click import. I'm going to have to authorize this copy as well. So let me just click on that. Continue. Okay, so if I have Walmart 2 selected for the columns map, all right, it's not going to import the data because these don't match my current CSV. So I'll demonstrate that now. When I click import instant data scraper CSV using a Walmart 2 map, all right, I'm not going to get the data in there. Okay, it's just not going to work. It will run because understand it's going through the map and it is looking for the map Walmart 2. It does find it and it is looking at these. But what happens is that it's also looking in the CSV and it's looking for these columns and it doesn't know that you gave it the wrong columns. It has no way of knowing that. So it's going to look, but eventually it's not going to find them. All right. And then you're going to end up, and that's what range not found means, that it cannot, it just couldn't find them basically. So, I mean, it's a bit more involved than that, but the general explanation of that error is that it could not find those headings. So what we will do is make sure we select the correct map, which is Walmart 4, the one I just created, then import instant data scraper CSV. All right, and if all goes well, we should then be able to get the URLs, titles, and the prices. Okay. Now it has to walk the file, so to speak, or go through the file, and then it should bring that data in. All right, so titles, URLs, and then prices. I'm doing this in real time so that you can get a true sense of what's going on here, because it's actually going through and having to look for those matching columns, and it doesn't know where those columns are. It doesn't make assumptions, because then it might not work. If the CSV were to come out in a different order, it wouldn't work, right? So it cannot make any assumptions about where in the CSV it's going to find these different things that it's looking for, right? Which is why you have to create the columns map, and then all it can do is look for those, look for these headings, right? And we see the prices had just come in. So that is the process. All right, so don't think something is wrong with the script right away just because you're not getting data in here. No, it's not just about the script. There's the columns map. Okay, the script uses the columns map. This is a huge piece of the puzzle of importing the data automatically. Now, all of that being said and demonstrated, you can also copy and paste, and I've shown this in another video where I talked about getting different ways to get data into the system. Technically, you can actually just copy and paste some of this data as well, but the reason for the import command, why I created this import button, for one, is convenience, but another is the fact that in some CSVs, especially dealing with suppliers, you will find that they have text or other things inside of the price data, and yes, you can remove them with a find and replace on Google Sheets, but many people don't know that process, or it's just a whole extra process that you have to do. And so the import function is meant to remove that process, right? So you don't have to do that process, and it will remove the words or anything else, and it will leave just the numbers behind. It will go through, extract numbers. Also, we have some suppliers where they separate the dollars and the cents into two different columns. And then if you're dealing with other regions, we have suppliers like in the UK that use British pound sterlings, which unfortunately Google Sheets doesn't seem it was programmed to recognize those as actual numbers, where dollar signs are automatically recognized as numbers by Google. Okay, so that's actually something I feel like that was a bit of an oversight on the part of Google, because all of that is numerical data, regardless of the region, regardless of if it's a dollar sign or British pound sterling, it's still a number, right? So things like that. Okay, so importing from different types of suppliers, I had to create an import function that could go through and figure that stuff out. Now, on this system, the most recent version, I eliminated that, or at least on this version from this video, because you might be using a future version. I'm up to 1.3c right now. And on this version, I replaced it with copy IDS. And the reason is that when pulling data from an Amazon CSV, it's always going to be from Amazon. And one thing I know with Amazon's site is they do store the prices this way, okay, as one good price with no words inside of it or anything. So with this system, it's a lot more predictable because I'm always importing Amazon. I'm not importing Walmart or Target, or it's always Amazon, and Amazon is always going to store their prices that same way. Okay, so I don't really need to do as much with the data, and that is why I changed it to copy, because all it has to do now is just copy the data and paste it from the IDS CSV. Okay, and that is what it does. But you still have to tell it where to get those copies from. Okay, where to copy from, and that's what the columns map is doing. Okay, so I hope I explained this better. And by the way, Amazon storefront, I should have mentioned this earlier. What happens is that depending on the page you are on Amazon, if you scrape someone's store, you get a different CSV format. It's important to understand this. Okay, and that is why I had to create another map for Amazon storefront, because you get a different CSV. And again, when you import that CSV for the storefront, you need to compare it to this columns map, the Amazon storefront, to see if you need to change URL, title, or price columns. Okay, you have to do this, otherwise when you go to copy the IDS data, the data is not going to copy over. All right, and then I don't want you to say, oh, the script doesn't work. No, don't always jump to that conclusion, right? Okay, you have to understand the whole process that is involved, right? The reason why these systems are as versatile as they are in terms of working with many suppliers is because I'm using this columns map approach instead of assuming, because I cannot possibly know what every website in the world is going to do. So having a map allows us to import the data from any website in the world, literally. As long as we have the data, though, we have to have the data first of all. So it doesn't go and get that data, but you have to go, provided that you can go get that data from the website, and you can bring that data into here as a CSV, it can map it. You just have to provide a columns map. Okay, so any website, right, that you can get the data from, you just map it and you can bring that data into the system. All right, and that is why it can work with like the supply Amazon matcher can work with any website, where a lot of the source and softwares and things like that, they only work with certain websites because they're connecting to the website a lot of times to get the data. right? So they have to exactly know how to connect and get the data from that specific website. So they have to really program each website. They cannot just, work with any website. Okay, but so this is an extra step you have to do with a columns map, but it's giving you the versatility to work with any website. So it's a good trade-off, right? Not to mention, there's no monthly cost, being that it's a Google Sheet instead of you connecting to a site and paying to cover the API service of that sourcing software, which is where a lot of your cost is coming from, is to pay for their data access that they have to do, right? So anyway, that is the columns map. I just wanted to explain everything that goes behind this columns map, and why we even have the columns map and what it does, and then to understand how to update this columns map, right, for the different systems. If you're using one system, or if you're using both, great. If you're just using one, consider also using the other, depending on what you're trying to do. Or if you just prefer one, then just whatever. But either way, you can see if this video, I'm not sure where this video will be posted, but I believe it might be posted on my the Teach Tools channel, which is a general channel where I post more of the actual, let's say, tech support content for those people who are actually current users of the systems, as opposed to the other channels where it's more general tutorials, and it's really for everyone who's might want to use the system, or those who are already using it. The Teach Tools is for people who are currently using it, to give you better clarification on certain details of how these systems work. All right, and so then if you want to contact me, you should already have my contact information from these systems. And this is Mr. Mark, and I look forward to hearing from you or seeing you around on the channel.